agree to give you. Language difficulties. Of course, as Professor Hammond told, the adaptation to a new way of life takes time, and you cannot consider, if you have a facility in a neighborhood, that all people there, especially from these immigrant communities, will come and will practice there, because they have another priorities to attend. Perhaps they ignore the range of activities offered in a sport facility. You need to communicate, you need to explain what are you doing there. If no, they're not going to consider your offer so attractive. Some cases they have cultural prejudices. Ladies cannot practice, or you cannot practice in the same hall where men are practicing. These are cultural prejudices. Sometimes, and it's quite close to the work market, they have difficulties in reconciling leisure time with other needs. They have no closed schedule of work, or they need to attend a family needs and so on. And especially for traditional sport competitions, some sport federations don't allow to some immigrants to practice. That's a very bureaucratic point of view. You need a license, and to get a license, perhaps you need to have any nationality, or to participate in some rule competitions. If you are playing not in top division, but if you are playing in some divisions, you cannot get more than one player from abroad, for instance. These are sport federation rules. Well, this is an example. These are news from a newspaper. This is in Spanish, and the first red circle says that girls after older than 12 years, they are dropping out of physical activity due to this cultural behavior, these cultural habits. Especially this article is talking about the Muslims. Due to that, girls older than 12 years old are out of physical activity. In some cases, they are not going to train if the trainer is a woman, for instance. It's happening in terms of medicine. In the public medicine, some communities are not agree if the doctor is a woman. These are part of the cultural prejudices I told you. How to separate the physical activity between men and women? Some swimming pools has been requested by some communities to avoid the use of the swimming pool by both sex, men and women. And then that's a really third, if you are going to build a swimming pool, or if you have a swimming pool in a community where this neighborhood with this community is existing or is living. Then just remind Dan, and I have explained that several times in several seminars I have attended, that most of our sports law give to the authorities the chance to promote sport, to promote physical activity between people. That means that authorities need to look for equal conditions of practice. Authorities need to promote new or alternative sport initiative of practice to all citizens. The sport physical activity practice is a right, and then the authorities must promote the access to this right to all these people, to all people, to all citizens. And the authorities must support current activities. Some cases are traditional sport range of activities, but they need to support some current activities. And in this point, we need to take into account these sporadic activities these punctual activities that I told you in these parks. We don't need to avoid, we need to collect. And then here, you can see, this is a Google map view, and a sport facility in the middle, the swimming pool and the track and field court. And it helps me to introduce what must be taken care in the location, design, and policy of sport facilities development. We need to take into account that the planification of a sport facility, the construction of a sport facility, must be into a plan of a multi-purpose policy. Sport is not, where are we going to build here? In the middle of what? Or why? What kind of synergies do we need to create between the neighborhood and between the communities that are living surrounding. Perhaps in some cases, that facility, some cases no, always mass facility must be used for more than one community neighborhood. Because if we consider that the facility will be, and I have heard that today here, a meeting point, will be the place where people can meet, and thanks to physical activity, it can help them to live together and to integrate their own behavior into the same building or into the same purpose or into the same facility. Accessibility. It's nice to have a sport facility close to urban areas. If you are looking for integrated physical activity into some communities, please build that close to them. Not because we're going to create a ghetto or a closed structured society, no. Because it will be easy for them to participate into the activities if they are close to. Of course, they take care of the size and the spaces to include in that facility. If you have a long tradition of swimming in that place, try to take into account and try to build a swimming pool able to attend these swimmers and other activities organized in water. Type of spaces included. If outdoor volleyball is popular in this surrounding, try to build an open space or an open court into the facility. And take care of the investment required. Because some cases, if there are other priorities in that area, people will not accept so much if you are going to invest, I mean in terms of public authorities, if you are going to invest a huge amount of money in the sport facility. Because they can consider it that they have another needs. Then, another picture, I will show you it's an example of facility, and you can see a numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What does it mean how to integrate a sport facility into a multi-purpose plan? The area under number 1 was an agricultural area. You can see a place, it's a town close to Barcelona. You can see a place where the lands are used by farms or by agriculture. The number 2 is a neighborhood, is a community. It doesn't mind if there are immigrants living here or what kind of origin are here. Number 3 is an industrial area. And number 4 is under construction. Number 3 industrial area means it's an area of workshops, storages, and so on. Number 4 is under construction. They are going to build a commercial center, a kind of mall. And in number 5, they are now building a football stadium. What is happening in the facility is that we are integrating workers coming from in the agriculture part, people living in the surroundings, workers working into the industrial area, into the workshops and so on, and in the future people going to the mall. And this is an example about what does it mean to integrate a sport facility construction into a multi-purpose plan. Then what I would like to show you is 4 outlooks of the sport facility development. Management, activities offered, human resources involved, and financing. About management, as has been mentioned here too, we need to look for a structured cooperation with civil society and also private initiatives. Civil society is because these clubs, social organizations, these people are really close to the communities. They really know what are the needs, what are the conflicts, what should be the solutions. You really need to check where are the leaders of these groups. Private initiatives because perhaps if as a public authorities you are going to invest money, perhaps you will need some companies interested in sharing that investment and so on. Or only companies, workshops, storage companies living or located close to the sport facility. perhaps some big factories are interested in having that sport facility close to the factory. Cooperation with schools and education centers, that's very important because the way to integrate requires an education plan for those who must be integrated and for those that must accept this new social development. Cooperation with schools means that perhaps people going to the schools, no, I'm sure, they will discover that other activities are available, they will be introduced into physical activity, and they will really discover that a good way to use the free time should be to practice any physical activity or to practice a sport. Rule the use of different spaces by collective. Remember, it's not enough to use a public court into a park. The use of that must be ruled. You need to use the sport shoes. You need to follow a timetable. You need to attend a schedule. The use should be for free, but must attend some rules. Because if no, what will happen, and it's appearing in Barcelona, what will happen if another collective, another community are not agreed by the use of the sport court for the community of Muslims, for instance? That's the way to create a conflict. Why can they use and why my club cannot use?